Hey guys, this is RolloutReviews with RolloutReviews doing another Let's Build. This time it is Kopaka and Melum Unity Set. This is the largest of the 2016 winter wave at $25, and it's very sneaky, because this is the set that allowed them to make Umarak the Hunter, the villain of this wave, a $20 set, and much more substantial than the Lord of Skull Spiders, who is only $15. They thought they could sneak under our noses and actually downgrade Kopaka from a $20 Toa into basically a $15 Toa. He's sort of in the middle of those two, as far as I can tell. So they made him a little bit smaller, but then packed him with his creature so that he was a bigger set, and maybe we wouldn't notice, and maybe they could still put gold in his color scheme without us batting an eye. Kind of interesting, kind of clever. We'll see how it goes. But if nothing else, I'm glad they did this so that Umarak could be the larger $20 set. So this, being basically a Toa and a creature, is the biggest set of the wave, and will probably take the longest to build, so we should probably jump right into things. But I would like to take a look at the packaging here first. Even though it is one of the larger sets, a little bit like Mask Maker versus Skull Grinder, where it's two figures in one, the box kind of retains the shape a little bit of the smaller boxes here, instead of the actual square box shape that Mask Maker vs. Skull Grinder had. You have their united form here in the corner there, Kopaka and Melum, and he looks really cool in this product image. I think in person he might not look as good, but one thing I do like about this form is that he's a little bit slimmer than his 2016 rendition. He's a little bit more lean, and maybe a little bit more like I imagine G1 Kopaka being. So that's kind of cool. There is one thing about this set that I am very disappointed in, and if you've ever seen this set built or anything like that, you know where I'm going with this. And it's very much a scumbag move on LEGO's part, because the issue that I'm alluding to here, that you'll see once I open it, is not actually visible in any of the product images. As you can see, his shield is tilted this way, and you can see the inside of his shield here, and you wouldn't suspect anything. But let's open it up and see what's inside. Of course, you have Kopaka's Nuva symbol and the creature symbol, or it goes this way, actually. But, open it up here. First bag. Second bag. Third bag. Instructions. Two swords, not in bags. And oh, Lego. Lego. Why do you do this to me? There are stickers on Kopaka's shield. And when you see the pieces that these go on to, I have a little bit more frustration. Because they are on mostly flat surfaces. So they did learn. They didn't put them over a corner, but they continued to make a mistake, and I'll elaborate on that when we get there. I do not plan on putting these stickers on in this Let's Build. I'm going to do them off camera before the review. So know that. I just had kind of an awful time putting on the stickers when I did Let's Builds for the 2015 sets on Onua and Kopaka, so I'm actually going to wait to put these stickers on here, so keep that in mind. But yeah. See, I'm so glad that Onua doesn't have stickers, but if nothing else, Kopaka is consistent. He has stickers in both his 2015 and 2016 forms, which is a shame. An absolute shame. And I think the biggest thing is that, once more, he doesn't need these stickers. Like, he does not need them to look good, you know? But he has them anyway. I mean, I think that the stickers on his thighs in the 2015 form are a little bit more essential to this, but, like, it's on his shield, and in a pose like this, and, I mean, it's very clear, like, in all the poses on the box, you don't see the sticker, so obviously it's not, like, that essential to his look. So why? Why do that to me? Lego, why don't you know that I dislike stickers? Oh, well. Now I'm just being spoiled. Okay. Here we go. One last bag here. And we are ready to roll. One thing about this set that is also a little bit disappointing is that, much like Pohatu, actually, I think his color distribution is really weird, and I'll get into it a little bit more as I build it, but I think they could have done some things better with his color distribution overall. But in the background, you got Umarak the Hunter there. You have a couple of shadow traps here that actually have blue legs, so they are ice shadow traps, but an ice shadow trap is not included in this set. Another slightly disappointing thing. There you have the comic, which is pretty much the same as all of the others as far as the events go. It has you build Melum first, and then Kopaka. And then, as you can see here, it has you apply the stickers on the shield like that. Oh well. Okay, we should probably get started here. So, first step, let's actually get some of the bigger, obviously Kopaka related pieces out of the way here. I'm actually going to wait to look at his mask until we actually start building the Toa himself. So yeah. Get those out of the way as well. And the sword pieces. Where is Melum's body? Yeah, Melum. He's apparently the combination of an ape and a rhino, which is silly to me. It's in the same vein as Tarak being apparently a combination between a lizard and an ape. See, to me, I think that Tarak is clearly a mole, and that this guy, Melum, is clearly some kind of polar bear, I'd say. Either a polar bear or like a yeti, something ice themed that way. I definitely don't think rhino and ice go too well together, although in the Savage Planet Hero Factory series, Stormer, who was kind of the ice guy, he had a rhino theme, so maybe Lego knows more than I do about ice and rhinos going together. But yeah, you could say, like, oh, he has a horn. Melum has a horn on his head, but they're also evidently part dragon, so that could just be explained by the fact that he's part dragon as well, and not necessarily that he's a rhino, because, like I said, I'd like to prefer thinking of Melum as some kind of polar bear, because that makes a lot more sense to me. Okay. Also, his name, Melum, is very similar to Malum from 2009. I actually did this backwards here. That's supposed to go on this side. There you go. Yeah, the exiled fire Glatorian Malum. Very similar, and I remember when the names for these sets were first leaked. That's what everyone thought. So, kind of interesting that they choose a name so similar to an existing Bionicle name for this guy, but whatever. I won't judge. He's got a very similar thing going on to Tarak. Tarak and Melum are very, very similar to each other visually. They do, however, have different functions, which is a cool concept. I mentioned all this in the Tarak Let's Build, so just reiterating it now that we're here. Basically building the same thing on this side as we built on the other side. Because see, looking at these sets, I don't think Kopaka is very strictly a $15 set. He's almost like a $17.50 set, I think. What I think they did was made Melum a little bit smaller, like ever so slightly smaller than the average creature, compared to the others, you know. And that allowed them to maybe make Kopaka a little bit larger than Liwa and Gali, and Pohatu. And then they threw a little bit of gold in his color scheme, but I don't think nearly enough. And again, I'll talk about that a little bit more as I'm building Kopaka. But here we have the body of Melum. He's got very tiny legs compared to Tarak, so that's another difference he's got going here. But it's fine. There you go. Then swing these back here and attach some Glatorian necks there. Oh, another thing I didn't mention in the Pohatu Let's Build and the Qatar Let's Build as well. New colors of Hordika necks in that set. For the longest time, we had nothing but black Hordika necks. Or not Hordika, Glatorian. Glatorian necks, Hordika necks, I'm sorry. Yeah, Glatorian necks. In like the burnt orange color. So that's cool. Because, like I said, we basically, for the longest time, just had them in black. And of course, we have them black here. So that's no different, but... Yep, thought I should mention that because I forgot to in that previous Let's Build. Also, I have to say, you know, building Pohatu, you know, I wasn't too impressed by him. And even when I initially combined him with Qatar, you know, I said he's very impressive. One of my least favorites, though. But honestly, putting him on the shelf with the others and kind of stepping back and looking at him, he is really cool combined, I have to say. My judgment changed very quickly when I had him up and I kind of took a step back and looked at him. Because I really do like the swords on his back, and his mask is a little bit improved, I think, by Qatar's helmet there, Qatar's, you know, headdress piece, and especially when you have his weapon split between the mace and the sword. He just kind of looks like this awesome weapons master or something with like two swords on his back, an extra sword, a mace, and then like the scorpion tail as well. He's just kind of a well-rounded like weapons collector or something, and I really like that. But anyway, here's Melum, and he's kind of a cute little Tarak clone here, except like I said, he does have a different gimmick. Instead of his arms going up and down like he's digging, he kind of does this bashing function, which is cool. I actually kind of like this function a bit better than Tarak's. I feel like Tarak's arms are kind of too far back for it to look proper when his arms were in the upward position, but like this, Melum works pretty well. Not quite as armored on the arms, you know, he's got shorter legs. So he is smaller than the average protector, allowing Kopaka to be a little bit bigger, like I said. But yeah, this guy's kind of cool. So I think that's it. Let me make sure that's it for this guy. Yep. And I'll set him off to the side and start building Kopaka, Uniter of Ice. So let's actually take a look at his mask, his new mask, because this is hands down my favorite part about this set. Like I said, I really like how they made him a little bit more sleek and thin, perhaps a little bit more like Kopaka Mata, which is interesting because this is his upgrade form in the new series, and I feel like the 2015 Kopaka was a little bit more like Kopaka Nuva with like a very G1 Kopaka Mata mask, whereas this has kind of a very G1 Toa Mata. I keep trying to say Pohatu for some reason. I don't know. Kopaka mask, or mask. Jeez, I'm out of it. Kind of a G1 Kopaka physique. Pohatu. I'm just gonna stop. I've ruined it. I've ruined it all. Anyway, he's got the physique of Kopaka Mata. I'm having a terrible time. Kopaka Mata. He's built like him, but he's got kind of a Kopaka Nuva mask, whereas 2015 Kopaka was the other way around. There we go. Whew, now I can take a deep breath. I got all that said. Talking is hard, guys. Talking is hard. Anyway, this mask is very, very cool. And like I said, it has a little bit of a Kopaka Nuva vibe going on, I think, in my opinion. You know, it has less of the eyes than the 2015 Kopaka mask had, which was more similar to the Mata mask. And then, you know, here it is with the Mata mask there. I just think this is super, super cool. Honestly, I think this might be my favorite Kopaka mask out of all of them over the years. I also really like that it has, you know, a place for a stud to go, because in the comics, Kopaka's little, you know, eye here was actually colored blue, but, you know, in the set, it was always white here, but now they made a room for a stud so that it actually could be blue, and I think that's very cool. And I think the crystalline look up top here works really well for Kopaka because, I don't know, it's the mask of ice, you know, so it's got kind of an icy look up top here. And then kind of like Onua, it has the asymmetrical kind of like tribal tattoo looking runes on one side here, along with the Nuva symbol there. I just think this mask looks very, very cool. And then of course here is the golden version with the blend up top, very similar to the mask that came with Skull Warrior. So there is that. We'll take a quick look at the chest here. Again, the Nuva symbol. The printing itself looks pretty cool, and it has a little bit of this dark blue color, which is only seen one other place on the figure here. Yeah, let's just finally get into this. As if this video wouldn't be long enough. Okay, so body first at the start here. Once again, very similar to what we're used to seeing with the Toa. Gotta find one of these, but smaller. So, give that to me, please. There we go. It's actually this color. Kind of misleading in the instructions. Sometimes the color of pieces isn't completely represented in the instruction manual. So you kind of have to double check and make sure that it in fact is the right piece. Because, you know, it looks like it's a slightly different color than it is in the booklet. But there is the gear. So far, very similar to like Tahu's build, especially since we're going to give him a little bit of back armor that uses these Bohrok eyes here. Just like that. Very similar to Tahu. Now, the Unity piece here, which is, again, a silver Unity piece instead of a gold one. You know, so that's the first clue that he's not necessarily a $20 set like Onua and Tahu, because he's got a silver Unity piece instead of a gold one. And I think they probably should have given him a gold one, just because it's not like they'd have to mold it in a completely new color. I actually forgot to add a thing here. I missed a step up in the corner. This is supposed to go on there like that, and then this goes over top. Anyway, yeah, it's not like they would have had to mold it in an entirely new color, seeing as they've already made this piece in gold. In fact, these and the golden mask are the only golden parts on Kopaka at all, unless you consider this kind of greeny, yellowy color here to be gold, but it really isn't, so it's kind of a bad argument. But yeah, once we have them built, I'll talk about that color, the color usage and the color distribution a little bit more. You know, it's not nearly as strange and all over the place as Pohatu's color scheme, Uniter Pohatu's color scheme at least, but it is definitely questionable. So there is that. Anyway, actually, now that I think about it, I think the reason why they used the silver Uniter piece instead of a gold one is because his lower legs, I believe, yeah, his lower legs are these silver, and he already has gold on his legs. So if they included, you know, it would be easier to include all of the Uniter pieces in a single color than including one in gold and two in silver. And they do look better in silver on the legs. So that's probably why that is silver, now that I think about it. So these go on here. And Kopaka's arm build is actually fairly different. It's a little bit opposite. He has the sockets on his body rather than the sockets on his arms, much like Kopaka. What am I doing? Why do I keep confusing Pohatu and Kopaka? Pohatu has the Hordika necks. Make sure I got that right. Yes, they are Hordika necks and not Glatorian necks. Jeez. On his body, and so does Gali and Liwa, I believe. Right? Am I completely insane? Am I completely losing it? It's about that time. It is about that time. This is like the fifth one I'm filming tonight, and it's a pretty long one, so I should expect that I'd start to become a blithering idiot at this point. But anyway, I'm just gonna stop. I'm just gonna build. Okay, so make sure that is pressed in all the way. There we go. Kind of had to use the table there to get that done, but oh well. It's kind of interesting that they put this piece here just to kind of cover up the back, even though it doesn't attach to anything, seemingly. So that's kind of weird. Like, these pinholes are kind of exposed. Like, you would think that they'd try and attach this to the leg somehow, but no, it's literally just there to cover things up. So we got one of those built, and then it tells us to build the other one. So let us do that. There is that. And there we go. I was about ready to go look in the bags I threw on the ground again, because I was missing a piece. But nope, I found it. And it's funny because that was the exact same piece that I left in the bag on Tahu, the 3-long axle there. So, almost done here. Then we can attach. Oop. There we go. Yeah, because I remember when the set names and things were first announced, and we saw that Kopaka was going to be included in a 2-pack instead of separately like all the other Toa. We just kind of assumed it was going to be a $30 set, just like Mask Maker vs. Skull Grinder, the only other 2-pack we'd seen in the new line so far. And so because of that, we assumed Kopaka would be just the size he always was, a $20 Toa, and then then Melum would be just, the size of the $10 creatures. There you go. I eventually got the words out there. But yeah, then it kind of came as a surprise when we learned that, in fact, he was $25 instead of $30. Which makes sense, I guess, because like I said, it doesn't come with a trap. It also doesn't come with like an extra mask or anything like Mask Maker vs. Skull Grinder did. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Anyway, here is something very similar to Onua. And I think Umarak also has a little weapons, or not weapons, but ammo rack on his side. Yeah, he comes with this little belt of ammunition, extra ammunition, just like Onua did. Because his shield also doubles as a gun. So there you go. There's that. It's kind of something interesting about a few of the Toa. Just the fact that they kind of take cues on their weapon choices from the protectors a little bit, if you think about it. Because, like, Nilku, the protector of stone, had kind of a staff weapon, and now Pohatu has sort of a staff weapon. And then Gali kind of has a two-handed weapon with a propeller thing on it, just a little bit like kind of a two-handed weapon that has the harpoons. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a harpoon on the end. You know what I'm saying? With Kivoda and his little diving apparatus thing he's got. Diving scooter thing he's got. There's some very loose similarities there. And then, I thought there was another one. Yeah, Tahu, also, Narmodo's kind of weird blades are translated kind of over to Tahu's Uniter blades. Again, some of these are very loose lines drawn here, loosely connected. But I think that it could have been intentional. That they said, hey, we're gonna make some of the Uniter weapons maybe a little bit more similar to the Protector's weapons. I don't know. It's a thought. It could have happened. But maybe I'm just drawing lines that shouldn't be drawn. That's very possible. Again, given my my inability to make coherent thoughts at the moment and say coherent things. Okay, so here is his arm. And it tells me to make the second one. And for a second, I thought, but wait a minute, they should be mirrored. And usually when something is mirrored, it tells me to just make an entirely new one instead of just ×2ing it. But no, actually, now that I think about it, it is completely mirrored. So, yeah, let's do that. Let's make a second one. I wasn't prepared because I thought it would just give me the directions because I assumed they were mirrored. So now I gotta go back and follow the instructions again here. So, second verse, same as the first. Now, get this going on. It is kind of cool that his upper arms are kind of this complex mass of Technic pieces here, or mostly Technic at least. I don't know if you consider Glatorian necks Technic, because they did, you know, as the name would suggest, come out with the Glatorian, which was a Bionicle set, but yeah. Just kind of throwing things across the room. Still got one more set to build after this, so hopefully I can keep it together with that one. But here we go. Here are the arms, which means it's about time to bring the camera up. So that when I... no! Kopaka! Okay. Backdrop up. Now bring the camera up here. And here we are. Now we just passed 30 minutes not too long ago, and honestly, like, if I'm able to build this set and get everything I want to say out of the way and done before we hit the 40-minute mark, that'll be kind of hilarious, because this set is definitely larger than Tahu, at least, and it took us about that long to do that one. So that's a thing. Interesting. So these arms kind of attach like that, but usually, especially with all the other Toa, they had something that also locked their arms in place. Like, I was expecting something to go through there, but now that I look at it, that's impossible. So his arms kind of just attach like that and come off pretty easily. And it's not like adding the chest piece helps with that at all, because it's on the front, not on the back, but I'm sure combining him with Melum will fix that. I really do like how his arms are built here. Like, he does kind of have, you know, these random white bits sticking off here, and that's kind of similar to, like, the way Pohatu's arms were, but at least they're not, like, hanging off. That's one thing I kind of forgot to mention that I dislike about the Uniter Pohatu. And that's that he's got those Borak eyes just kind of sticking off the sides of his arms awkwardly. So it's a little bit better than that, but not too bad. What? It's a little bit better than that, but not too bad. No, it's a little bit better than that, but still kind of a weird thing that he just has white on his shoulders. But I guess he's got white pretty much everywhere else, so it's not too big of an issue. So now it's probably more appropriate for me to say not too bad as opposed to earlier. Okay, so here's Kopaka, his body built pretty much. Looks cool. Like I said, I like the way he's built a little bit more. His silhouette, I think, is a little bit more Kopaka to me, or at least G1 Kopaka, than his 2015 counterpart with the bulky shoulders. But anyway, now we're building his weapon here. So, got the blaster piece here, the Gatling gun piece, just like before. Actually, not too many pieces left here. Can't really see it now that I've brought the camera back up, and I'm building his way down here, and I'm realizing you can't even see that. So, anyway, maybe I shouldn't have brought the camera up just yet. Anyway, here we are. Here we are. This is what we got. This is what we got built, in case you didn't see that before. Now, this goes there. This goes like that. And then these shield pieces here, these like Technic panels, go on, or at least this one right now. And yeah, I started talking about how the Protector's weapons kind of maybe influenced these weapons, but then I never really got to the point, and why I brought it up. And that's because Kopaka's little blaster here is kind of similar to Isotor's blaster, with, you know, it's like a blaster with a sword on the end. This is like a blaster with a gun on the end. So that was the point I was trying to make. And I just never actually got around to making it until now. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. Okay, so here's the shield. And here's where the stickers go, and it's mostly a flat surface. You know, you don't have like a crease in the middle, and it is two separate stickers, so you don't have one going over this gap. But it also has these little dimples in the plastic, here and here. And the stickers actually go over top of those a little bit. And I do wonder if there's any way of avoiding it. Because it doesn't really, yeah, it doesn't seem like the sticker is thin enough to go in between here and here. So you're gonna have it going on top of this anyway. And it's like, why didn't they just design the sticker to have like a cutout that went around that dimple? You know, like, it's the same thing with the 2015 Kopaka. Why didn't they design the thigh stickers to be two separate stickers on either side of the crease in the plastic? It's just so annoying to me. And again, I'm not going to put that sticker on now with the camera in front of me without as much space as possible because I don't want to botch it up. But yeah, that is annoying. It might be somewhat of a personal problem, but I do feel like people did empathize with me a little bit when I talked about stickers, when I made that video about Onua and Kopaka's stickers. So there are other people out there who have the same kind of issue that I have. That's something that's a little cramped there, a little unfortunate, is that to get those bottom two pieces of ammo on, you kind of either have to squeeze in there. If you have big fingers, this kind of gets in the way a little bit, so it might just be easier to pull this front section off. I don't know. And also, let me tell you one more thing about my problem. Like, this is here to kind of match the chest printing with kind of the green color and the blue and the white. But again, I feel like that's a little unnecessary. I feel like it seriously does not need that at all. But oh well. This piece goes on there, which allows him to actually hold his shield, and he actually holds his shield properly. It's on the side of his arm rather than holding it, you know, just with a pin on the front of his hand like before. Although it doesn't really like go long ways on his arm, so maybe, I don't know, maybe there is some kind of weapon or shield that exists like this. It's actually a little bit more like a buckler, maybe, than a full-on shield, which may be the idea they're going for there. But yeah, there is that. And again, it might look actually a little bit better, a little bit more in tune with his chest piece once those stickers are applied, but otherwise it's just like, why did you do that? I don't know. Again, I'm so salty about that. Because when I first saw the pictures of these sets and that aspect of Kopaka's design wasn't visible in the product images, I was like, yes! A whole wave without any stickers. And I guess the summer wave didn't have any stickers either, but like, an entire set of 6 Toa without any stickers. Hallelujah. And then Kopaka came and ruined it all. Oh, well. So, this time around, instead of a spear, he's got a sword, which, again, is very similar to the 2001 Kopaka. And it even kind of has some similarities to that 2001 Kopaka weapon, with kind of the split down the middle. I always thought that, Kopaka's sword in 2001 kind of had a split down the middle, and I always kind of imagined it kind of splitting even further, and he shoots ice out of the center of it or something, and that's kind of what this looks like. So kind of cool. It looks a little bit like a tuning fork almost, with this big gap in the center, but yeah, I do like the way this works a lot. And again, another one of those like Kylo Ren pieces there. Kylo Ren lightsaber pieces, but yeah, given his sword, and like I said earlier, that's what I was kind of getting at. Like he's got the slimmer looking design with the sword and the shield, which is just much more similar to 2001 Kopaka than Kopaka Nuva. So there's kind of some weird opposite parallels going on there. Anyway, let's see if that's all we have to do. No, we have to put one more piece on the end of the sword here to give it a pommel there. And here are all of the extra pieces. So, set this off to the side. Oh, and we just passed 40 minutes. So I am kind of glad that this video, in a way, wasn't shorter than Tahu. I feel a little bit more justified that way. Also, another thing that this set reminds me of, now that I think about it, is what was it? Brain Attack Stormer, where he kind of has just a sword and like a shield that kind of looks like this, like an ice shield. So that's kind of interesting too. But yeah, let me put his mask on. And then I'll talk a little bit more about how I think this guy maybe should have gone. Because I mentioned earlier, like, I'm not a huge fan of the way they went about his color scheme. Again, it's not quite as much of a problem, I don't think, as Pohatu, but the only bit of gold he has on him is here. And, like, that's it. And, like, if they wanted to give the illusion that he's one of the $20 Toa, even though he technically isn't, just given his size, they could have at least added a little bit more gold on him. They didn't need to add much, just a little bit. In the original preliminary images, we saw that this piece here, the new sword piece was actually gold. And I thought that looked good because it did add a little bit more gold than just here. He had gold in more than one place, which is just a good principle to keep when coming up with a color scheme. He shouldn't just have one color in one place and nowhere else. But personally, I think he would have looked great if they just made his shoulder pads gold. Like, that's all he needed, because, like, he has the dark blue here, and yes, that's the only dark blue plastic he has on him, but he also has the color on his chest, and so I think that kind of redeems that factor. Maybe he should have had these pieces on his upper legs be the blue as well. In a perfect world, I'd say that these Vorok's armor shells here should be gold, and his upper legs should also be dark blue, and then I think he'd look great. But otherwise, this kind of green color here, which sort of matches the gold in a way, especially since it's blended blue and gold, and this is kind of a yellowy color, so it kind of makes a green in the middle. So, it's kind of like the greeny yellow here. And I guess that you could argue that unifies the color scheme a little bit, but overall, I just think, while it's not bad, while I think he looks pretty cool, it could have been done better. There could have been at least some more gold somewhere outside of his Unity mask here. And admittedly, he does look at least a little bit more balanced this way, although I do think the silver and white just looks maybe a little bit better than the combination of the blue and the gold. But maybe that's just me. Anyway, now that I've rambled on and on, here we go. Finally, we've got Kopaka and Melum together here, so before we combine them, we'll put them side by side. And once again, I do kind of wish that this set did come with a shadow trap, if not just so that we could have 6 of them instead of 5, because 5 seems like an odd number. Again, not including the one that is created, excuse me, from Umarak the Hunter's armor. But Now that we have the two separate, let's unite them. So we've got the Unity mask on there already. R.I.P. Kopaka. Okay. And now let's get his arms out of the way here. And then let's kind of bring Melum's legs down a little bit. And bring the head up. Gatai! I don't know. I'm thinking of doing something special for that sequence in my reviews, because it's so like super robot to me, the fusion there. So yeah, I might have to do some kind of scene for that, but we'll see. But anyway, these kind of come up and over his shoulders, like so. Although it is kind of fighting me a little bit. It's not quite doing what I want it to. But there is Kopaka united. Does very much limit his shoulder articulation when you add these on top there. And it also does kind of make him look a little bit similar to his 2015 incarnation in a way, with the bigger shoulder pads. So that's kind of nice. And he's got, you know, much more gold in his color scheme now, which is appreciated. I think his colors are a lot better once he's united. But I think physically, I'm not sure I like the silhouette as much. I just realized that the backdrop here is a little bit wonky. There we go. That should be fine. I think the silhouette isn't quite as good. I don't like it as much. I'm sure some people do. But I think his color scheme is much improved by this combination, although I am failing to see the practicality here, because like at least Onua's claw shoulders could be of some use in like tunnels. They could like help him dig, but like in the tundra, what exactly do these claws do? I guess they're extra like slashing power along with his sword here. You can, you know, activate the function if you kind of bring these up a little bit. I sort of like locking them into place here, but you can, if you bring those up, kind of do this. And in that case, he's got like weird claw wings, weird polar bear claw wings, or rather ape rhino. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, he actually looks cool. In person, he looks a lot better than in pictures, and I knew he would. But again, I think I just maybe like his physique a little bit better without Melum combined. But very impressive. Like I mentioned with Pohatu, even my least favorite combinations are still just impressive. And as I mentioned also, there's just a good weight to it. I am also now realizing, and I somehow did not realize this before, Kopaka is now left-handed, apparently, unless he wants to defend and shoot with his prominent hand. But yeah, he totally wielded his spear in his right hand before, and now he's left-handed. Huh. You learn new things every day. Anyway, that is about it, guys, and this is IX RolloutIX, signing off.